everybody. Welcome back to Lockdown Sessions with Justin Clapper here with Wrestling Travel. And today we're very happy to welcome a staple in the Midwest, Judge Jesse. Judge, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Justin. Good to hear from you again.
Yes, it's nice to be. I know. Last time we had this talk was in your court, so I'm glad to be in your good graces today.
I'd not see you again.
So it is a pleasure to welcome you to the Lockdown Sessions. Here we're just kind of getting to know everybody. As you know, Wrestling Travel, we're based out of the United Kingdom. And I'm not sure, have you wrestled in the United Kingdom, Judge?
No, I've never been overseas. Really, Canada and U.S. is really all I've been to so far.
So this is perfect. We got a lot of UK fans and fans from around the world that get a chance to know Judge Jesse. So Judge, basically we just want to get to know you. When did you start your training and where did you train?
Started training in 91 at the Hart Brothers camp. That was Keith Hart's camp. I was going to go to Bruce Hart's camp in 90, but I didn't have the funds at the time. I was able to scrape up some funds. Actually, my job at the factory in Michigan ended at the time, and so I used the money to severance package to go up to Canada in 91. Trained with Chris Jericho, Lance Storm, Ed Langley, who was the main trainer there.
Is that in Calgary or?
Yep.
Wow, that's quite a hike from Michigan then.
Right. Well, the plant closed down. Actually, I was laid off permanently from that job on a Wednesday and drove up on that Friday to go up to Canada and made it up there by the following Monday as the camp started.
Holy cow. So how long was camp? How long were you up there?
I was up there for 2 months every day.
2 months. So 91, so Jericho and Storm are actively tagging and stuff at this time, right? As the Thrill Seekers, is it?
I don't think, actually, I think their name was Sudden Impact at first.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't the Thrill Seekers, I think, until they got down to Smoky Mountain. Okay. But yeah, they had trained, the year before in camp, and then they came back in 91 to train us. But yeah, they had started their wrestling careers in that previous October. So.
Okay, so they're really relatively not well known at this time.
Right. Yeah, and pretty much anyone outside of that region probably wouldn't have heard of them.
Okay, and how about you, as a young judge out of Michigan? Had you heard of Storm and Jericho outside of, hey, these are the guys that are going to be helping me out at camp?
I really until 96, 95, 96-ish is where, they started getting national exposure and whatnot. And I really didn't want to have to rely on that to, get my career going and whatnot. So I kind of downplayed it somewhat. But there is footage out there if you want to seek it out. But but I really didn't want to. I probably should, say, hey, yeah, I was trained at the Hart Brothers camp every match. But it's,
Yeah, and I know you're a humble dude. But trust me, I'm going to show that footage because I know where to find that footage. You showed it to me before. So we will be showing that at some point in this interview because we got a great editing guy that will put it over, and that way they're not looking at my ugly mug and yours this entire interview. So let's back it up. We're gonna go further back than 1991. I know some of these answers because we've talked before, but a young judge first turns on the TV and discovers pro wrestling. What wrestler is catching his eye? What gets you excited about pro wrestling when you first start watching it as a young lad, as we say in the UK?
Well, actually, I was 15 when I started watching wrestling, but Dusty Rhodes, when he got his ankle broke by the Four Horsemen, that was what dropped me in. But I would say Ron Garvin hooked me. He was probably my favorite of all time at the time.
I got a lot of love for Ron Garvin, and this is all about you and not about me, but I have to tell you this story. At StarCast 4, which was for AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view in Baltimore, they brought in a lot of legends, and one of them was Ron Garvin. Now, I got to see Ron Garvin in the fall of 1988 in my hometown of Rhinelander wrestle Greg Gagne for the International TV Championship. And it was so cool because Ron Garvin was the former NWA champion. So for him to come into my school was pretty cool. But he was a heel. I wouldn't talk to you or anything. At StarCast 4, I just walked up to him at his table, and I was working for Wrestling Travel, but I struck up a conversation about him, about the AWA, because I'm a huge AWA fan. And he started telling me how him and Greg Gagne had come down south, and they just threw the two in the ring together, and they had such good chemistry that Ron was offered back even prior to '88 to come up to Minneapolis, but he said that the weather. He said I couldn't do it because of the weather. But I could have taught. Ron Garvin actually would have talked to me a lot longer than 15 minutes, but I actually had to go get back to the Wrestling Travel table. But I tell you what, and I'll say it right here on tape to all my bosses at Wrestling Travel, I did not want to leave that table and go back to work. I could have talked to Ron Garvin all day. What a great guy.
I would have too. I mean, I still haven't met him yet, so he's getting up. I do want to still meet him at some point, but yeah, he's like I said, he's getting up there in age. Well, now I have a contact to him now.
Yeah, no, we gotta get a hold of him. I tell you what, though, he's one of those guys when they say don't meet your heroes. That I always go into these conversations with people a little bit, but he was great. He could have, he treated me like right here, one-on-one, just like one of the boys, which is fantastic. So Ron Garvin wins the NWA world title.
September 1987.
Fantastic. Now, how do you feel? A lot of people will say, oh, that's just that. And I know why they did it like that transitional, just to get, a little bit of more press on the title, a little break in Flair's reign. But a lot of people say undeserving champion, but I'm going to bet that you and I are on the same page and don't agree with that.
If you just watch any of their matches back then, Flair and Garvin, they had an awesome feud. It wasn't always, straight up and hot. They'd have their periods where they wouldn't face each other in 6 months, but, they had magic chemistry. And really, if you look at some of their matches, Ron Garvin was probably one of the most popular members of the NWA at the time.
Yeah, I remember being younger, and you realize it now, but as a kid, you're like, I can't stand that Ric Flair. I hate that guy. He's a cheater, this and that. And for Ron Garvin to have the belt, that was huge. I didn't even get cable. I would have to learn from the boys at school that had cable that would tell me that. And then, of course, I would see it in Pro Wrestling Illustrated 2 months down the road that he had the belt, but just going, yes. So fantastic. So Ron Garvin is the guy who catches your eye. You go up
I used to have a poster of him with that belt.
Say that again?
I used to have a poster of him with that belt in my bedroom.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of posters, I'm doing another little show here called that I just started called Inside the Archives. I just happened to, the first one I still have, since I've been home and it's Corona, cleaning up, I found my, from 1997, my paperwork to compete for a tryout at the power plant in WCW. And I thought, hey, it's kind of cool. Not everybody gets a chance to see that. So I did a little 5-minute video on it. You can see some of my memorabilia here. I've got an autographed Ultimate Warrior poster. This WrestleMania 5 is a Coliseum video poster. Like, if you bought the video, you got a free watch. But it's actually signed by Hogan and Macho Man. So got some cool memorabilia. You mentioned you had a poster. You might have got rid of a lot of your stuff, but do you have any memorabilia or something that you hold pretty strong?
Not really. I mean, I have like a few awards and whatnot that I've won 20 years ago, but I couldn't even tell you where they are right now. I mean, I don't have a shrine or anything like that, but yeah, I got my belt in my gear bag. I mean, nothing even really displayed or anything, but.
Oh, that's cool. Some people have, I know all of us in wrestling, we all hold on to like a little bit of something means special to us.
Well, I do have, sorry to interrupt there, but I still do have somewhere. You mentioned 88 a while ago in AWA. I went to a show in Escanaba, Michigan, where I grew up in 88. And I still have a notepad with all the autographs in it with Medusa, Sergeant Slaughter, Greg Gagne, guys like that. So, I mean, that's pretty much really the only memorabilia I have, I would say. But
that's cool. I wish I would have had the stuff from a kid. I don't know what happened to a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, so we all do hang on to something. Like I said, I merely have this displayed so you have some type of background when I do these interviews, so people don't have to stare at my ugly bug the whole time. They can kind of go, "What is all that stuff?"
the whole time, there you are, Justin.
Oh,
Okay.
there I am. So who are some of the bigger names now? You've got a long career. Some of the bigger names that some of our fans that you stepped in the ring with.
I would say probably the biggest one would be Jake the Snake Roberts. I didn't actually have a match with him. I had lost the PHPW championship a few years ago, and of course, it was a faulty decision, so I was reluctant to give up the belt. And of course, Jake had to come out and save the day, put the snake on me, and
oh wow,
yeah, that snake is heavy when it's writhing around in your neck.
I bet. Okay, well for a guy having a long career, are there this Judge Jesse the kind of guy that goes, hey, I really would like to step into the ring with this guy? Is there anybody on that wish list or bucket list before I hang my tights up? It would be really cool to step in the ring. Besides Ron Garvin.
It would be cool to get in the ring again with, or at least do something with Jericho again. And he knows I'm out there, but he's really, we haven't seen each other since camp, so that I think that'd be kind of a full circle thing, to meet him again and stuff.
And I do believe, and I didn't hear it per se, but I do believe you did get a mention on the Talk is Jericho podcast a couple years ago, right? So he definitely knows the name.
Yeah, and it was funny because I used to, at the time, I wanted to be known as Jazzy Jesse. And I had, I sewed that on the back of my trunks and everything. And so they remembered me as Jazzy Jesse. And years later, I have no idea how he even heard of my, the Judge Jesse part of it, probably from Lance. We used to keep in contact a lot. But, yeah, I mean, he did mention me, and he wasn't too favorable about the things he said about me. He said I looked like Chicken Little. But, I mean, which was kind of true. I mean, I did back at the time. I was probably about 26, soaking wet. So, and I looked like I was 21, but I looked like I was 12. So,
Chicken Little, and then Jazz. Let's back up here, Jazzy Jesse.
Yeah.
What kind of character was Jazzy Jesse?
It wasn't. Yeah, I really didn't do anything that much with the jazzy gimmick or anything. It was just a nickname that a schoolmate gave to me, and I just liked it, kept it. So, but that one match, it's Jazzy Jesse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just so used to Judge Jesse that I just can't even. The fact that you even had another name, which I know is in the business, we have a lot of different names, but I just can't imagine anything but Judge Jesse because, like I said, when I started wrestling around the Milwaukee area in like 1999 or 2000, I remember going out to matches and seeing you. So, and it would always pop me, the Judge character. So,
like you said, you wouldn't remember me as anything other than Judge Jesse. Most people wouldn't have not even known me as anything other than that too, but they haven't seen me without hair either. I mean, that was almost the last time I had hair. So
that's true. Didn't you recently posted on your Facebook like a little clip of you with hair? I think. Yeah. Was it Facebook? Yeah. Somebody.
The footage existed, and I was able to find a guy that had it, and yeah. So like all these years, I had no idea. I didn't remember being billed from Atlanta. I had forgotten totally about that jacket I wore to the ring. I'm like, wow, I wish I still had that stuff. And then a funny story too is the singlet I wore, that red and black singlet, I came to the show with that, and Frankie Thumper DeFalco, well, we all know him. He kind of give me a rib a little bit about wearing his outfit. I'm like, I didn't remember that. Sorry. So he wound up wearing a blue and black one. But yeah, so he gave me a little bit of a shit about it. But
yeah, no, that's awesome.
Some guy comes in first match and I wear somebody else's gear. It's a little bit embarrassing, but.
Well, maybe on the Inside the Archive series that perhaps some fan will come through with some more hidden Jazzy Jesse footage or stuff, judge with hair, stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for.
Well, actually, that match is the only match I've ever wrestled as Jazzy Jesse. I took 4 years off after that match, and then, I had made up the idea that I was already gonna kind of retire, if you want to call it that, after I was gonna wrestle that match, and I did. But after 4 years, wrestling started becoming hot again. I'm like, I really don't want to be 30 or 40 or whatever and not give it a little bit more of a shot. So came back and been doing it ever since.
Yeah, you've been doing it really well here for a long time in the Midwest. So I'm from Wisconsin, and I'm proud of the Wisconsin wrestling. You recently were in a promo tournament that was featuring all wrestlers from Wisconsin. Tell me about that experience.
That was a lot of fun. The thing I liked about that was seeing a lot of the guys I wasn't familiar with. Of course, I saw a lot of the guys I was familiar with too, but a lot of the guys I did know already, like Kodiak, for example. He's really impressed me with his promos. Pit Stain, I had really never seen a promo of his before, and he did a fantastic job. Yeah, really. I mean, I got knocked out in the second round, of course, by Zach Hendricks. But I think we're probably going to wind up doing some things down the road, and that's another cool part of this is, kind of setting up matches that could happen down the road when actually, shows actually start running again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that part of it.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. The fact that guys were making this into something entertaining for the fans and also entertaining for each other. Right. What have you been doing during this pandemic to kind of stay sane? What kind of things does Judge Jesse do? He's ordered to stay at home. Can anybody order you to stay at home, though, Judge?
No, I could do it the other way around. I could order them to, do whatever. But no, really, I mean, it hasn't affected me too much. I mean, other than things being closed that you can't do, I still, obviously I practice social distancing and all that crap, but I don't really, my courtroom's been closed for a while, so, I haven't been keeping busy that way, but.
Yeah, you find other ways. I mean, imagine, your courtrooms have been open for a long time. I mean, you were due for a break, Judge, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise for a guy like you. Now, remember these words in case I'm ever back in your courtroom, how nice I was to you today. That's what I want to know. I want you to remember. How can I keep up with Judge Jesse? Where can the fans get to know? We're going to go out all over the world. We got a lot of fans in the UK. Probably their first time seeing you, but where can we find some matches? How can we get a hold of Judge Jesse? Where can we learn more? What are your social media credentials is what I'm asking you. And we'll flash them down below, but I want to hear them from you.
I do have Twitter handle is Jesse Judge. I actually haven't been on there as much. I'll try to keep up more of a better profile on that. I would suggest, though, youtube.com/Judge Jesse. So that's my, most of my videos are on there. And then, of course, facebook.com/Judge Jesse. Pretty much anything I do is on there.
Fantastic. So we've had
and hopefully soon I'll have some more merchandise, and I'll let you guys know where it's coming. I have like a book deal possibly in the works. I have some contact with some publishers and whatnot. So, and I do have new T-shirts on the way. I'm not sure when they're going to be yet, but.
Well, can you show me what are you wearing under the robe there today?
Oh, that's Judge Jesse on the front, and then it's got I sentence you to then ass kicking on the back.
Well, fantastic. That's the way I wanted to end this interview. Judge, I was wondering if just for one time we have it on video, myself from Wrestling Travel, Justin Clapper, I was wondering if you could give me a sentence today.
All right. Well, Justin, I'm Judge Jesse, and I sentence this interview to be dismissed.